Today, we're diving into the world of cybersecurity, but we're going to treat it like a high-stakes detective story. We're going to explore how digital defenders hunt for clues and outsmart their opponents in a world where the crime scene is the internet itself.
So in this explainer, we're taking you right inside the command center of cyber defense. We'll meet the teams on the front lines, check out the incredible high-tech tools they're using, and, most importantly, uncover the strategies that help them stay one step ahead of the attackers. All right, first things first, let's meet the people at the heart of all this. They work in a place called a Security Operations Center, or SOC for short. You can just think of it as mission control for protecting an organization's entire digital universe. Okay, so the first line of defense is what we call Tier 1. These are the analysts who are watching a constant, never-ending sea of alerts. Their job is all about triage. They have to quickly sift through all that noise, figure out what's a real threat versus a false alarm, and decide what needs to be dealt with right now. Now, when Tier 1 spots something that looks really serious, they escalate it up to Tier 2. These folks are the seasoned investigators. They take that initial alert and launch a full-blown forensic analysis to figure out exactly what's happening, how bad it is, and how far it's spread. And then, at the very top, you've got the elite Tier 3 specialists. We call them the threat hunters. Now, these experts don't just sit around and wait for an alarm to go off. Nope. They are actively, proactively hunting through the network for the most advanced and sneaky intruders, the kind that are designed to slip right past all the automated defenses.
But of course, these human experts aren't working alone. Not by a long shot. They have a whole suite of really sophisticated tools at their disposal. So let's take a look at the essential tech that powers their digital alarm systems and their investigations.
The absolute cornerstone of any SOC is the SIEM. The easiest way to think about it is like a system that watches hundreds of security cameras all at once. It gathers up all the log data from everywhere, servers, firewalls, laptops, you name it, and puts it all on a single screen. This gives the team one unified view of everything that's happening. Now, to protect the perimeter of the network, defenders use systems that act kind of like digital tripwires. And there's a really crucial difference you need to know. One type just detects a threat, while the other actively prevents it. An intrusion detection system, or IDS, is the one that just raises the alarm. But an intrusion prevention system, or IPS, it takes that next critical step and actually blocks the threat on the spot. This table really helps break down how these tools stack up. You can see that IDS and IPS are mostly focused on the network's edge, but EDR, that's endpoint detection and response, is a whole different beast. It focuses on the individual devices, like your laptop, and here's the key. Instead of just looking for threats it already knows, it analyzes behavior to spot brand new attacks it's never seen before. Okay, so an alarm has been triggered by one of these tools. Now what? Well, now the real detective work begins. The analysts have to follow a trail of digital breadcrumbs to piece together exactly what happened. And these clues, they have a name. They're known as indicators of compromise, or IOCs. Just think of them as the digital fingerprints an attacker leaves behind at the scene of the crime. An IOC could be pretty much anything. A suspicious IP address, a weird-looking file name, or maybe just an unusual pattern of network traffic. But here's the challenge, right? There can be thousands of these clues, and an attacker can change their IP address or the name of their malicious file in a heartbeat. So how do defenders prioritize? How do they know which clues to chase down to cause the most possible disruption to the attacker's whole operation?
Well, the strategy actually comes from a brilliant framework called the Pyramid of Pain, which was developed by a security researcher named David J. Bianco. His key insight was this. Instead of chasing after clues that are super easy for an attacker to change, defenders should focus on the things that are the most difficult or painful for an attacker to have to alter.
This pyramid, it's a really simple but incredibly powerful model. It organizes all the different types of clues, or IOCs, based on how much pain it causes an attacker when you detect them and block them.
So down at the bottom of the pyramid, you've got things like file hashes and IP addresses. Sure, they're easy to block, but they're also trivial for an attacker to change. It becomes this constant game of whack-a-mole. But as we move up the pyramid, it gets a lot tougher for them. Blocking their network artifacts or the specific tools they use, that starts to get really annoying for them.
The higher you climb this pyramid, the more effective your defense becomes. And at the very, very top, we have TTPs. That stands for Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures. And this is the absolute key. It's not about blocking what an attacker uses, but detecting and blocking how they operate, their behavior.
When you can do that, you force them to change their entire playbook, and that is incredibly difficult and costly for them to do.
And that idea, focusing on behavior, it leads us to the final and maybe the most important piece of this entire puzzle. See, the best cyber defense isn't just about reacting to alarms anymore. It's about being proactive. It's about anticipating what the attacker is going to do next.
And this is the world of threat hunting. It's a complete shift in mindset. Instead of waiting for a tool to find something wrong, hunters start with a hypothesis. They just assume an attacker is already inside the network, and then they go looking for them, searching for those really subtle behavioral clues, those TTPs, that the automated systems might have missed.
But you can't just go hunting blind, right? You need a good map of the territory, and that's exactly where threat intelligence comes in. It's all about evidence-based information on who the attackers are, what they want, and, most importantly, their TTPs. It's like getting a detailed dossier on your adversary before they even make a move.
And this really shows one of the most powerful parts of modern cybersecurity: collaboration. Nobody fights these battles alone. The global security community shares threat intelligence through amazing crowdsourced platforms like VirusTotal. So when one organization discovers a brand new threat, they can share the details, and almost instantly thousands of other organizations are protected from it.
So what you should really take away from all this is that cyber defense has moved so far beyond just building higher digital walls. It's a dynamic, constantly evolving chess match. And while the technology is absolutely essential, the ultimate advantage, the checkmate, comes from understanding and outmaneuvering the human on the other side.